Welcome to the PP Show, where the D-Gens come to have discussions. Here at the PP Show, everyone has a voice, no matter how long you've traded in the markets. We love all opinions at the PP Show, and we hope you do too. Always remember this show is mainly comprised of opinion, speculation, and entertainment. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, you dildo enthusiasts. God bless Teddy and G-Merica. One last thing, always remember, talk is cheap. It takes money to buy whiskey.
fuck you doing tonight, man? It's great to see you guys. Hope you guys have been well, man, as we get together again on another goddamn episode here of the PP Show, man. So great to see you guys. Hope you guys have been well, man. Missed you last week. A whole lot of work when it comes to this Bear Trap movie. They're working PP like a goddamn dog, man. I mean, but you know, we're having a good time, man, getting a lot of this entire story put together because the real goddamn story needs to be told, all right? That retail investors will never get fucked again for as long as we're around here at the PP Show, man. So, great to see you guys this evening here. We got, obviously, Michael. First off, let me say happy Cinco de Mayo here at the PP Show, man, on a Monday. Michael will not be joining us here this evening. He does have a couple things, couple commitments that he'll be doing. It says PP using a tin can mic. Oh, hold on one second, fellas. Shit. Tin can mic here.
How are we sounding now? That was our cheap mic, man. You know, that was the mic that we started out with. How do we sound now? Good? Are we good now or what?
Shit. Tin can mic here.
Trash mic. Hold on one second. I think we're good now, fellas. Yeah, good. All right, better. All right, sounds good. Yes, we have a whole lot to unpack. Sorry for the tin can mic, man. Apologies, man. So we got a lot to unpack here. Obviously, we've seen the sale of GameStop Canada, which is something we need to unpack here. Michael will not be joining us here this evening. He's got some other commitments, things like that. So Travis will be here as well. We also have Spurious Splunker. He wants to give us a rundown on one of the court hearings that he actually got to tune into as well. So we'll take a listen to that. Lots to unpack here. A lot of tinfoil, surprisingly, over the weekend, too. So sit tight. A lot of posts from Bobby, too, that we're going to dissect here tonight. So things are exciting, man. You know, again, a lot of people asking, why are we still here? Why are we still here? Even I'm asking the same goddamn thing, too, man. But, you can't rush perfection, fellas, all right? And when they announce this goddamn thing, man, there's going to be a lot of people out there with a significant amount of wealth, at least in my opinion, right? So it's going to be very interesting how this thing kind of unfolds and when they announce this. Tokenization of baby as well, May 8th. Keep that in mind. All right, let's dive into it. Let's not waste any more time. No, Spurious is kind of on a timer here. So keep in mind, man, I am not a financial expert, nor am I a financial advisor, right? So please seek the avenues to do so. You're not going to find it here. A lot of this is opinion. A lot of this is speculation. A whole bunch of man's entertainment, if you haven't guessed it already. We like getting together. We like talking about the stock, and that's really all there is to it, man. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind, any guests who come to the show, man, nobody here is a professional. So if you hear any opinion, speculation, TA, things like that, keep in mind, man, nobody here is a professional. We like getting together. We like talking about the stock, and that's really all there is to it, man. Where the fuck is Roaring Kitty at, man, is really the biggest question. Chat, please give a warm welcome to none other than Travis the Stripper. Travis, how the fuck are we doing on this Monday? Happy Cinco de Mayo, my friend. How are we doing tonight?
That's right. It's Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. How you doing, chat? Hello. How's everyone doing? It's good to be here. Doing great. Been busy. Life's been busy, but doing well.
Right on. Excellent. Well, there's a whole lot to unpack here. Obviously, Travis, stuff pertaining also to XRT, stuff like that. So before we dive into a lot of this stuff, why don't we give the stage here to Spurious? Spurious wants to come in, give us a little rundown on some of the stuff that we've missed. Excuse me, in some of these like court documents, things like that. We did have a date, all right, a court date for May 6th. It has been adjourned to May 28th, I believe. And we'll take a look at that as well. So chat, please give a warm welcome to none other than Spurious Splunker. All right, Spurious, how the fuck are we doing, my man? Long time no see. How are we doing this evening on the PP Show?
Hey, yeah, been a little while.
Right on, excellent. Well, Spurious, man. Yeah, I was gonna say we can jump straight into it. Yeah. But Spurious, glad for you to be joining us, man. Anything that has kind of piqued your interest over the last couple of weeks since we spoke? I know you have a couple things that you want to talk about court wise, docket wise, that we most certainly could dive into. But anything you want to update the good people tuning in out there at home? Let's hear it, Spurious.
Yeah. So there was a hearing last week. I want to talk just a bit about it. But earlier today, when you texted me, I realized there was another, like, much bigger thing, probably to most people, to bring up. So actually, before I forget or somehow, the court is moving from the court solution system back to Zoom. So starting this month, I've been in talks with the court. Starting this month, Papalia's hearings will not be through court solutions. People ask me pretty much every hearing, like, how do you go about, like, listening to these? Like, do you have to sign up, blah, blah, blah. And I do DMs and, like, I text them the process, but you won't have to do the court solutions method anymore. Starting, I guess at the moment, the next scheduled hearing will be the 28th this month.
28th, yes. So it's been adjourned from May 6th to the 28th. Do you know what exactly we actually have? I'll pull up that docket actually while you discuss that a little bit. Hold on one second while I find it. Please continue on while I'm finding this for you, Spurs.
Yeah, so I don't know the exact reason that they're switching back to Zoom after all this time. But by the sound of it, it's going to be simpler to listen in for people. So you won't have to deal with, like, that $50 fee per hearing to listen in. You won't have to deal with, like, kind of an involved process, signing up and talking to them. Basically, all you have to do first is, on a per hearing basis, if anyone wants to listen in at all, these are public hearings by law. You'll just have to email Chambers, the Chambers for Vincent Papalia. I gotta make a post. I should have done that already. I'm gonna post the exact email address, but you basically just email them and tell them that, like in this case, probably all of us, or just about all of us here listening, we're class 9 creditors at the very least. So whether you're class 6, if you have bonds, or class 9, just email Chambers, and I'm gonna post on X this email address. You just email Chambers, tell them you're a class whatever creditor, and you'd like to listen to the Bed Bath case. You can give them the case number, and then either, I'm still waiting for a sort of a final reply from them, but either they'll give you a specific link and a password for the Zoom meeting for the hearing, or something else. I'm waiting for sort of a final thing.
Yeah, this is the one that actually you're talking about right here. So this was posted by I am from the bottom. It says adjourned 5/28. Lord have mercy. Right on. It says here the thing that's been adjourned. Let me pull this up so everybody can see this. These goddamn delay adjourn. It's like every fucking week there's something that they need to push back, right? And it's like you got to wonder at one point, there's not a whole lot left when it comes to this bankruptcy here, right? Like, a lot of the major things, the major moving parts was HBC. They've been dealt with. We also had obviously the maritime lawsuit, which been dealt with. There's 2 other ones I think that are also going to be dealt with, and also the board, right? Like the biggest one being the $2.5 billion lawsuit when it comes to the board as well. So, obviously they're, in my opinion, yes, they have the claims, things like that too, but you see the claims getting thrown out almost weekly. So, it's so odd to me that they keep delaying, right? And one of the things that the adjournment request here is Colin R. Robinson, am the attorney for Michael Goldberg to play an admin and request adjournment of the following hearing for the reasons set forth below. Motion of HRTC 1 LLC for leave to file a late administrative claim, which is docket number 2397. So it seems like whatever's been delayed here from May 6th to May 28th is in fact another type of claim, from what I'm understanding from this document here.
Yeah. So I want to talk just a bit about the last hearing, because it's sort of same shit, just another day. A lot of these hearings have been I shouldn't say. So a lot of the people that are filing objections and filing very specific claims that just so happen to stop everything before it can all continue, it's just really fucking fishy. And you know, I talked to Dirty Vader after the last hearing, and he dug up a couple more details I hadn't noticed. I just want to kind of show just how blatantly fishy some of this stuff is.
Sure. Yeah. If you want to share your screen, please feel free.
Yeah. Give me a sec. Where is it?
Cactus out in the chat says, why do we care about the adjournments if we keep saying this won't affect the payout / announcement, which is a good point as well. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think a lot of these claims are holding up back really anything. I'm just curious, you know, why they would need to essentially adjourn a lot of these like claims, right? The fact that a lot of them are kind of frivolous to begin with, a lot of them have been thrown out just in general. A lot of the claims have just been flat out fraudulent too, right? Like going back to like Brandon Meadows and like this like crazy schizophrenic guy who was writing all these crazy fucking letters to the court. You know, I don't necessarily think it will impact this, right? But obviously it's something that needs to be looked at and you know, obviously just addressed temporarily, at least in my opinion. Go ahead, Spurs.
Yeah, so I just left a family gathering to get here, so I need to be quicker about this. I'm sort of
oh yeah, fucking yeah, like two minutes and then get out of here. Yeah, go enjoy. Go enjoy life, man. Cinco de Mayo, man. Travis, are you having tacos tonight or what?
No.
You're not having tacos on Cinco de Mayo?
No, I'll make sure to file a complaint in the complaint box.
All right, sounds good. Go ahead, Spurious. We'll let you wrap up, and we got a whole lot to unpack here, so we won't keep you too long, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just very briefly. So the big hearing that I was in last week was about objections to what Goldberg proposed and what's listed in docket 3965. So what he wants to do is to reclassify basically gift card and merchandise credit claims. There's literally thousands of them, and people are still submitting them. And we're about to see some people are submitting the same claim multiple times. And each time this happens, it costs a little bit of time. It costs at least, you know, some system processing stuff. So it's pretty annoying at this point. But he wants to reclassify these to Class 6 general unsecured claims.
This is what Michael talks about in terms of cramming down into the Class 6. Yes.
And some of these claimants are trying to object and fight that their claims should be higher, that they shouldn't be unsecured, that they should be secured. And you know, the estate in the last hearing and constantly says they're not looking to reduce the amount of the claims. They don't want to change the dollar amount. They're not saying the claims are worthless. Colin Robinson has made a point to multiple times say, we are not saying the claims are worthless. They are, you know, they are still set to be paid back. We just want to change the classification. And yeah, so that you have people objecting. So just real quick about the APR, the absolute priority rule. You know, these are the basic points of it that like everyone should just basically be aware of. Some of these people with gift card claims, and mind you, I've spoken to a couple lawyers that I know, and fraudulent gift card claims happen in every single fucking bankruptcy and restructuring of retail companies ever. They just always happen. And the reason is it's very easy to put them in and then basically get no pushback even, because the legal costs of disproving these claims or proving that they're fraudulent and shouldn't be paid back at all are literally higher than the claims are for. So basically, like, these people tend to stick to like about $350 or under. If you're making a fraudulent gift card claim for $350 or under, it's just not worth the estate's legal pursuing of it. And they basically just say, okay, you know, on the face of it, we'll take it on faith that this is legit and we'll pay it out. But they have to classify it in like a way that makes sense and in a way that the estate can deal with these in a good, correct, sensical order. So some of these people are arguing to be secured creditors. No, you don't get to do that. Some of these people are arguing 503b9, like this guy, Ari Bussell, in the last hearing. If you look at 13, see, is all or part of the claim entitled to administrative priority pursuant to 503b9? This came up in the hearing and they talked about it. This guy says yes. This guy says yes yeah, it's bullshit. So they do this, and Robinson said it himself in the hearing. The reason, when he was questioned on it, the reason that they're reclassifying, but they're not fighting them. They're not fighting them substantively. They're not fighting them on the face of it. They're not fighting the dollar value, is because most of these are for such small dollar values. Some for 10 and 20 bucks. Like,
that's fucking
the time
crazy.
it takes to even file the court to do that, I don't even think it's worth your own time to do that, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a waste of time for sure.
So this is important to reclassify them correctly so that people can be paid in an order that is justifiable and makes sense. And that was sort of the topic of the hearing last week. And I just want to show, so there was this guy, Ari Bussell, in the hearing, and he had, if you go look at docket 4013, he had an objection to the whole reclassification period, just in general, reclassifying everything. He wasn't even mainly talking about his own claim. He was talking just in general. Reclassifying, he was saying, is bullshit, basically. Like, it's stupid. Like, why are you even reclassifying at all? He was saying, if you're not going to investigate individually each and every claim. So he wrote like a 5-page letter to the court, and he mentioned like specific clauses and lines and dockets. This guy said from the get-go, he's not a lawyer, but he was so specific and with such like intelligent, like legal wording at times. I was like, bro, if you're not a lawyer, you studied law. Actually, Papalia said in the hearing that this guy, you know, wow, you say you're not a lawyer, but you write and you speak more lawyerly than actual lawyers in the courtroom.
You know what's interesting too? This exact docket as well is actually the same day that remember we were talking about this docket, Travis, where Ryan Cohen had went and mentioned something about Jewish people. So I don't know. I mean, I think that I think he's still in to this day, right? Like, so a lot of people out there, like, you know, over time have just kind of you know, some people have kind of lost faith. Some people have kind of given up on things. But to be honest with you, it's like you can't really deny all the timing of everything that's happening, right? That this most certainly is happening here, especially when Ryan Cohen makes his purchase on the same day that they settle with the board of Bed Bath & Beyond, right? So, I mean, there's so many connections here. The fact that he's talking about like Jewish people the same day that his docket comes out, and you can see like the Hebrew text at the bottom. So, I don't know. You know, to me, it's very clear that this most certainly will happen. The biggest thing that we can all kind of do right now while we wait is just try to survive, right? Maybe if you have some extra money, place your bets on the side, things like that, you know, buy some more GameStop or IEP or whatever, do whatever you want with your money. But at the end of the day, you know, it's all about, you just got to make it to the end, fellas. That's it. You know, this is not, there's no final decree. Nothing's been official that like we're completely wiped out or anything. The only thing that has happened is that they canceled our shares. Okay. They recalled them basically back to the estate. And all while that this was happening, you know, mind you, that GameStop was tweeting fucking butterflies, fucking insider stop buying. So to me, yes, it will happen, but nobody obviously knows when. And I think that the biggest thing, the biggest holdup, you know, is not just like this case or that case. I think it's a multitude of cases that we're kind of sitting here. You know, obviously you still have the Braya stuff. You still have the 16B they're suing Cohen for, right? So there's still a lot of these cases that are sprinkled out that are still most likely affecting what's going on here. But I think one of the major things is that if you pay attention, Ryan Cohen is not just simply settling out the 60 million and moving on, right? I mean, there's got to be a reason for it. And my honest opinion is because I think he maybe had a hand in a lot of this money being allocated to Free Baby, right? I mean, there was like how much, it was like 400 million, I think, was left on it. And they allocated every penny towards this ABL to essentially, or towards this loan to JPM so they can basically Free Baby. And I think he's not going to pay a penny over, right? He's not going to sit here and say, you know what? Yeah, I was wrong. Here's $60 million, because the guy's already basically paid a shitload of money, at least in my opinion, freeing Baby in whatever's going on in the shell of a company right now. So that's just my personal opinion on it. And I still do to this day still think that Ryan Cohen most certainly is going to be the one to acquire us. You know, for the longest time, I thought it was going to be GameStop, but after seeing the insiders start to buy again, I don't know. I don't really know what to make sense of a lot of this stuff, but I do think that it will be Cohen because, again, you know, Cohen's the one who kind of filed these Teddy trademarks when he was, a quote unquote insider at Bed Bath & Beyond. Go ahead, Spurious.
Yeah, let me.
I want to revisit that, but I want to let Spurious finish because I know he's got to go.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sorry, I'm just. Yeah, let me try and just get this out. So.
Shut up and let him finish the fucking story. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there were these two people
Go
making
ahead.
the objections and they got their hearing. And I'm not making a definitive statement about either of them that I think, either or both are definitely nefarious.
Sure.
Just like really bizarre details. And every single time these people making objections come up in court, there's just such kind of bizarre things. So the one thing Robin said among the boilerplate, which Robin said, yes, Papalia asked Robinson, give these two claimants a status update. And Robinson was giving, kind of boilerplate language like, yes, at this time, there's nothing set to go out to all creditors. We still need to divvy up which creditors belong in which classes so we know how much it would cost to pay each class. And then we can start thinking basically about waterfall. Like
Right.
This is necessary. This reclassification is absolutely necessary for us to get to any waterfall. So in the end, Papalia did rule. He ruled against these objections. He said, no, reclassification can proceed as Goldberg and Robinson were arguing. So that's good. So that's progress toward, having the exact numbers that would set up a waterfall.
Right. That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bustle had a very long argument that like all the hearing was about him. But I just want to highlight just for a second this other person, a Holly Sherman, who had sent in an objection at the last second. And literally her objection came the very day of the hearing. And Robinson was like, oh, I'm so sorry if I apparently missed your email last night. Like, I never saw your claim before today. And Papali said the same. And look at her letter that she sent to the court. This is her entire objection. Holly Sherman, regarding the matter, I respectfully object. That's it. That's the letter. There's no reasoning. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the letter. Okay, okay, fine. If you want to spend your time and object and not say anything else, sure. So she gets to have a hearing. And then look at this. This is Dirty Vader. I saw this, but I didn't think much of it at the time. They scan everything from people for evidence, right? This is the return address of her letter. Holly Sherman. Notice anything about the name? Namely that it's not Holly Sherman.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So Mr. Robert Nelson.
Yeah. And I take no credit for this because I didn't look up the guy. I just was like, okay, whatever. More weirdness. But you got to see a little thing by Dirt Evader. Okay, so Dirt Evader double checked. He went back through the history. Holly Sherman submitted a claim twice. Once in May of 2023 and once in June of 2023. And then at the last fucking second here, she submitted the objection to this to get a hearing and, possibly reclassification didn't go forward or didn't go forward as quickly because she did this. So she submitted it twice. The return address is not her name. And then the name that her return address is for happens to have died in 2020. This is not the fucking first time this has happened, where there are claimants for different claims and they are literally dead people.
There was another case where this happened too that we were discussing. I remember months ago there was someone who was passed away that somehow submitted a claim.
So I just wanted, and again, all credit to Dirty Vader looking up the name. I didn't bother.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not the first time. I forget the other name off the top of my head, many months ago that came up. But this just happens. I don't know how often this happens in other bankruptcies, but it seems very clear to me, listening to the hearings, listening to the way these claimants talk, they don't know what's going on, and they're so unprepared. It's like they didn't read a single thing. If I got a court hearing and I was fighting for money, I would read a paragraph by Grok. They are so unprepared and clueless, or they act clueless. It's just bizarre to me that they would spend their own time this way and not know nothing, but it just so happens to waste everyone else's time.
Right.
So, Brandon Meadows, right. Yeah. So, that's just fucking fishy and odd, and it's not the first time shit like this has happened. So what Bustle was arguing basically is that reclassification. Oh yeah, and here's another little detail. Papalia asked her, oh, while we're going through your claim, what was the amount of your claim? She had no fucking idea. Okay, talk about unprepared. I just don't believe personally. I do not believe someone that gets a court hearing, files an objection, sends a legal letter, literally doesn't know off the top of her head the amount of money she's fighting for. That's your goal, right? You're just fighting for some money from your gift card. How do you not know the number? And Papalia waited, and it was like almost a minute that this woman was sitting there, and like you could hear shuffling. She had nothing she had no idea. And that tells me this is routine. These people that submit these claims for a small enough amount, they know the estate will not chase after them because it's not worth their time and money. They would waste more money chasing like a $300 claim than just paying it out in the end, because these are big time lawyers, right? So, I mean, it's just really fucking odd. And Papalia read her the amount from her own filing, and she said, yeah, that sounds right. It's just so silly.
A lot of wasting time. Yeah. I mean, and again, that's the good thing, is that even if they are submitting these claims, the claims don't necessarily impact our ability to reemerge. I think a lot of the stuff heavily, when it comes to the reemergence of the stock and who's going to buy the shell of the company, I think they have to wrap up something like, it tells me, because obviously we haven't seen it happen, right? All indicators have shown us for the last 2 years, this is happening. The biggest question is when, right? Yeah. And I think simply that whoever is kind of, whether it's RC's lawyers, whoever it may be, they cannot go through with this until a lot of these cases are dropped, or a lot of these cases are finally done. And I think we're finally almost at the end when it comes to Bratya and when it comes to the 16B case, things like that. So, and we actually have some responses from Ryan Cohen's defendant, or his team as well, regarding a lot of this stuff. So, Spurious, anything else you'd like to add here, or please, I don't want to keep you too long, because I know you have some commitments here tonight. But carry on, please.
Yeah, thanks. So, it's just really odd details, and it just keeps happening. Everyone that gets these hearings, it's just like nobody's prepared. They don't even know stuff about their own claim. It all just happens to attempt to stall for time, is what it looks like. So, yeah, just interesting. So Bustle was basically saying we shouldn't even reclassify anything, because clearly the estate doesn't investigate these claims. Like he made a couple points, and I mean, he's correct for the examples he gave. 76 specific credit claims. The estate was not investigating them all in detail, because like I said, and Robinson explained, and Papalia explained the same thing to the claimants, at some times it's just not worth it. You would waste more money that could have gone to creditors than you would chasing checking every single claim. It's just sometimes, you got to be practical. So, and bankruptcy law says that all this is in line with bankruptcy law rules. So Bustle was saying, like, why don't the estate cancel if they're not going to even investigate them all? And then there was whole arguments about that. Basically, like, they're not seeking to say you don't get to get anything. We're not going to argue, because that would be a whole bunch of extra wasted time and money too. So, but the thing that's funny about these people making objections, Bustle was saying the estate isn't serving anyone. It's not serving creditors. It's not serving debtors, because they're not investigating things properly. And you should investigate all these things to make sure you're not wasting money, paying out fraud. Okay, fair point, maybe. Except that the time it would take and the money it would take to investigate, it's just not worth it. And the judge said it, and Robinson said it. And this guy, who is so smart, if you read his letter, if you heard him talk, he sounds like a full-blown lawyer. And I'm not saying he is secretly and lying. I'm just saying he knows a lot of shit. And he's arguing a logical point that's so simple. Investigate in case of fraud. But it's so blatantly obvious, if you did, the small enough claims just wouldn't be worth.
Well,
so, go ahead,
Travis. I was going to say that in my field, that's what we call cost value. It's the difference of, this is what it will cost us, is the value we'll obtain. Like, it's not worth it. $300, pay it. Immaterial, doesn't matter. Pay it, because if we spent half an hour of a lawyer going through this, we've lost money. It's cost value. It's easier to pay it than to actually put in the work, which will cost you, rather than just paying the value of it.
So these came up in a hearing because they were fighting for admin and priority claims instead of just like, I mean, it's a fucking gift card. I'm sorry, but it doesn't count in the definitions that the court uses. So I'm just going to read a few, last quotes that are, I think, most important from the hearing. So Papalia said, explaining why we do this, why there's reclassification. When they're classified incorrectly as admin and priority claims and not reclassified later, it will cause trouble for distributing any available monies to the right pools of creditors. And among the boilerplate, Robinson said that there is a trigger, there is a mechanism that has not been triggered as of yet that would distribute money from the estate from a trust. So among the different boilerplates saying at this moment, the estate is it's not looking like there's monies available to send out to all creditors, but the estate continually, every one of these hearings, there's at least a very specific sentence where they're saying there is a mechanism that could still do it. So the possibility, the door is still there. So that's interesting to note. And the estate is not saying, these are worthless claims. We're just putting them in the order they should be to pay out by priority.
Yeah.
And then let's see. So this guy fought that it's a 503b9 claim, which is a very specific kind of claim. And then he was basically proven by Robinson that it wasn't. And I never heard Robinson get mad before, but he was really mad here when he was explaining this like over and over to this guy. Because in my opinion, I had the same thought just before he said it. The very specific things that this not lawyer was saying in the court were not even the things that he filed and wrote to the court. And this is another recurring theme among people that are coming into these hearings. They get a hearing, the judge approves that, and they come into the hearing and they're literally not even arguing what they wrote to the court about. MJL did that a fuck ton, okay? You can't do that. Like, you shouldn't do that. You can't write to the court and say, this is the objection I have for such and such reasons. And then you come into the court in the hearing, and then you're talking about other things that you didn't file about. Because everyone needs to be on the same page. Everyone needs to come prepared, having read each other's arguments, and then you can have like an actual debate and get things done. It's so confusing and wishy-washy if you say one thing when you wrote another. Mm-hmm. And you bring up stuff that was never written about before. This is very basic, and all these people do it. And I just think it doesn't seem organic to me that all of them do this. So Robinson got pissed because he was saying, you're not saying what you wrote to us about. But yeah, I'll address what you're saying now. Mm-hmm. And he did. And this guy, some more quotes by Bustle. And here again, Papalia disagreed with Bustle. I have to disagree with you. This review process that you're asking for is painstaking and takes tremendous time. Mr. Robinson is correct. The estate is correct to say, let's reclassify all these. They don't belong way up there in order. And they have to do that first to get to know what everyone is owed. And then, waterfall comes at some point later. Mm-hmm. So he Papalia overruled their objections. They don't get priority, nor administrative, nor secured status. They're going to be class 6 unsecured general claims. He did give Bustle the opportunity 60 days to refile a different claim, not a 503b9, because Bustle brought up some other issue. Again, he brought up something that he never even wrote to the court about. And he's so smart, I don't buy it. I don't buy it that he did that by accident. Just started talking about some complete other issue that he never wrote to the court about. I don't buy it. Mm-hmm. He's smart enough. He wouldn't have done that. So, but he's like, so Papalia's like, look, if you want to write about that other thing, file a claim for that one. I give you 60 days to do that. I'm dismissing your objection without prejudice. So you can do that if you want. And I think that's pretty courteous of Papalia at this late stage in the bankruptcy, in the restructuring. So given what Papalia said, he was overruling their stuff. Reclassification is happening, and that's what we need. That's what all creditors need for all to go forward through the waterfall at all the levels. Also a funny thing, Bustle spent all this time arguing and running to the court. He was reimbursed. He was given the money for his claim. Like, what the fuck is he even wasting time for? Why is he here? He got his money. It just,
That's a fair point. Yeah.
I just, you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't waste my time.
Right.
I don't understand.
Well, I mean, you have to
what
wonder
people are doing.
too. Like, you have like a whole network of people who like literally still talk about how all of us have lost our money and stuff like that too. Like, a lot of this stuff is like not natural, right? Like, not normal. You know, you see companies.
Wait, y'all lost money?
You see companies left and right all the time. They go bankrupt, right? And you never see like a whole shill community just like you know, enwrapped or engulfed in a lot of this stuff. Like, this is truly, I mean, David Caston was not lying, you know, when he said that this is an extraordinary bankruptcy. It comes with all the bells and whistles, fellas. The tinfoil, the DD, the goddamn secrecy that they're hiding everyone from, and also the shills, man. So I don't know, you know, I think that this is something that you'd never seen before, and I think a lot of people are going to be shocked out there when this thing is finally revealed, including myself. So please carry on, Spurious.
That's about it, basically. I do want to just say at last thing that emergence and, you know, the things that we're waiting for, like things like this. I mean, look at Hertz. Okay, claims and things around the just filing through the court and objecting and claims. This can all go on. It's not like really hampering a lot of stuff.
Right.
And I think that the estate side, maybe I shouldn't give my opinion too much here, but I think, you know, I think there's a timing being set up. I think, you know, it's not just sitting on hands doing nothing or random things happening and there's no reason for it. I do think that the estate, I do think that the shell, I do think the acquirer, I think everybody on the side, the long side of the situation, like we're on, I think they're, you know, they're getting as ready as possible. And when they're ready with everything they can be ready with, they're going to come out of the gate flying. And it's going to be, you know, worth it in the end. I don't think this stuff is, you know, they don't have control. They have control. So I don't want people to like get too worried. This stuff isn't really holding stuff up. I just want to show the kind of shit that's going on here because it's just bizarre. And to me, it doesn't look organic. These patterns, all these claimants doing stuff like this, dead people's identities, you know, multiple filing for the same claim. Yeah. I really got to go. Sorry.
All right. Yeah. Why don't you get to it, man? You know, you got some commitments. We appreciate having you here, man. Again, you know, you're an excellent DD writer out there, a big contributor to the community here. So, Spurious, any closing thoughts on the way out, man, for the good people tuning in at home? We have over 3,000 people tuning in this evening. Anything you'd like those people at home to know? Let's hear it, man, before we dive into a lot of this stuff from this last week. Let's hear it, Spurious.
Just try to relax. I really do believe the longs are in control. The estate knows what it's doing. Goldberg went through Enron. He's there for a reason. He can do the job he was given. It's not him that's part of the what's it called? The liquidation plan and the word just popped onto my head. The other plan, the
restructuring plan.
Yeah, there's another word. The reorganization plan, okay? He is not in charge of that. So there are things that I believe he does not know. And that's on purpose. And that's legally perfect.
Yep.
That is as it should be. So when Goldberg gets snotty, and he does, and he says some nasty things about like some of the creditors, I don't really give a fuck. He's in charge of liquidation. That's what he's good at. That's his job. Leave him to it. But he does not know. He is not part of the reorganization plan. I'm not worried. The longs are in control. We'll be fine. Spend time with family. Do whatever you got to do to zen. And when it comes, they'll be flying out of this gate. And our horse is going to win a race.
Right on. All right. Well, you heard from Spurious here this evening. Chat, let's get some love for Spurious on the way out. Spurious, it's always a pleasure, my man. Enjoy Cinco de Mayo, man. And we'll catch you next time here at the PP Show. Chat, let's get some love for Spurious on his way out.
Love you guys. Yeah.
Take care, man. See ya. All
Great
right,
to see
right
you,
on.
man.
Excellent stuff from Spurious, man. Might I add? I mean, again, you know, yes, there's claims. There's constant claims. And I saw Kim had made a comment here in the chat too, you know, about some of these claims and things like that. And, you know, the thing is that they can file 1,000 claims. They can file 10,000 claims, 20,000 claims, right? But it does not stop the company from reemerging, right? Yes, it causes some delays in terms of like, them dropping maybe this claim over that claim, but truly in terms of our emergence, it really does not matter, man. Look at Hertz, the company emerged, and still to this day, years later, they're still dealing with an absolute shitload of claims. So again, I don't think it's really going to affect it. I think a lot of it has to do with obviously, yes, not only the major players that are kind of behind this thing. Some people speculate maybe there's five guys specifically, obviously with some of that tinfoil. Maybe there is, right? Let's say that there is like a couple of these guys out there. Everyone's eggs need to be lined up in the basket for them to pull this off properly, right? So, and again, I think one of the main issues is that Cohen's lawsuit. And I don't think Cohen ever thought that this lawsuit would drag on as long as it has. And a lot of people out there have kind of made this argument that, look, he's a billionaire. He can simply pay out this fine of $60 million and move on from it. And that's very true. He could. But I think it also comes down to he is heavily, heavily involved in whatever's going on here behind the scenes. I mean, again, the fact that he has a standstill agreement with the company for, I can't remember the exact amount of months, but it was a very long time, maybe like 11 months, maybe it was a year or so. I can't recall. But the major thing is that the moment that standstill ended towards the end of March, we saw the company in a few short weeks enter Chapter 11 bankruptcy, right? Still to this day, we still kind of see these dockets that pop up where it shows Ryan Cohen as a co-debtor, a creditor. It also lists him as an interested party. So he's never truly given up here. And the fact is that, yes, there's a lot of moving parts. And, some people have even argued that maybe Bye Bye Baby was, in fact, part of the Kansas City shuffle. We were all so fixated on this Bye Bye Baby, right? And then it gets kind of quietly sold off to Overstock. What role is Overstock playing, or IEP or GameStop? I think a lot of them are most certainly involved in this, right? And nobody truly knows what it's going to look like when they actually announce this thing. But I do think it's going to be major. And, there's a possibility that some of this stuff could be timed for like a major macro melt up as well, right? There's a very real possibility of that. So excellent stuff from Spurious, might I add. Travis, is there anything you wanted to add in terms of what he was discussing? Something that you said you wanted to mention something about Ryan Cohen being the one who's going to acquire the shell. Whenever I had mentioned it earlier, you said you wanted to make a couple comments on that.
No, that wasn't it. And I'm too ADHD to remember because we've scrolled 100 times.
Yeah, no worries. If we come back to it, fine. I had mentioned the trademarks that he had filed, like while he was still technically an insider. So, but yeah, if it comes back to you, no problem. We'll come back to it. Let's take a look at what major thing happened today. So it looks like Canada GameStop gets sold. It looks like. So this is from Michael. Michael's not joining us here. Michael enjoys Secret Bio. Not sure if Michael's tuning in this evening, but we'll read his PCDD here. It says, is it a coincidence that Rite Aid is re-entering Chapter 11 to sell assets the same day that the Canadian GameStop assets are sold? I actually wasn't aware of that. I'm not a shareholder when it comes to Rite Aid. I know a lot of people out there have some tinfoil with Rite Aid. I think someone had posted like an ice cream cone, having an ice cream outside of a Rite Aid, or something like that. There was a guy, I think Redacted, would come on the show and kind of explain some of this stuff pertaining to Rite Aid here. But again, Michael's kind of bringing up a very good point. I don't really think it is super coincidental. I don't think that it's coincidental that on the same day that they acquire this asset, that Rite Aid also goes back into Chapter 11. I don't know. Maybe they could be playing a role here too. It says here, why re-enter into Chapter 11? Why not just sell the assets via the 8K? What has changed since the first Rite Aid Chapter 11? And now is the Bed Bath board was convicted of fraud and settled. BBIG board was convicted of fraud, which I did see that recently too. I'm sure you saw that too, Travis. I think there's some major fraud that happened with BBIG, and also with BBIG too. HBC was a main player in that as well. So I think that's very interesting to take into account too. It does say here, it says Rite Aid entered Chapter 11 after Bed Bath Beyond and exited within months. It would make sense in this context that the fraud aspect wasn't addressed or was contingent on those other cases. Bed Bath Beyond and RADCQ had all the same lawyers, and president was used from one case to another. This is all very exciting. I think ABC said he was probably going to join the show. I think ABC wanted to talk a little bit about the Canadian GameStop stuff here. So I don't know if he's out in the chat here. ABC, you're welcome to join us if you'd like. We would love to hear your opinion on this. A lot of people haven't seen you in a long time, ABC. Brandon Miller with the 20. Appreciate the love, Brandon. Thank you, Splunk, PP, Travis, and MIA Michael for all your DD. Anytime, Brandon. Again, we love doing it, man. And it's going to be a fucking magical experience, man, seeing all these people that, we've kind of come together and discussed this for a multitude of years. I mean, the moment that we are suddenly blessed with all these riches, it's going to be a new world, fellas, and I think that a lot of us throughout this community are going to do a lot of good. So if it's anyone out there who deserves a windfall like this, man, when it comes to a waterfall and getting rich, it's this goddamn community, man. This community is impresses me every day, man. All right, let's take a quick look at this guy. Travis, did you see that Stephen Tetrault acquires GameStop Canada? Did you see this today by chance?
Yeah, I saw it drop right after market close today. Kind of interesting news, kind of cool, unexpected, and at the same time, I can draw some tinfoil myself around this. But I've looked up the guy, Canadian French entrepreneur. I couldn't find a whole lot on him because as soon as the documents dropped, every news outlet. I mean, that's all I could really find on him. So I'd have to dig deep to find more information on this guy. But he's kind of a Canadian French entrepreneur. Not totally surprised that he would want to take over what was formerly EB Games and kind of see this thing through. I think it's ripe for kind of a refresh. He's made some statements. One of his statements was that he is beyond excited about this, which I found kind of funny. And I saw that in the chat. I forget who said it, but
Larry said that too.
Yeah. Yes, interesting stuff. So I mean, by all means, take it away.
Yeah. Let's read this little snippet here. So obviously it got sold. I don't think we have an actual monetary value what it was sold at. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think maybe GameStop will file something to let us know as shareholders what it kind of came out to. But it says here, Stephen Tetrault acquires GameStop Canada. So it says here, company to relaunch as EB Games in Canada, which is very exciting. We haven't seen EB Games in quite a few years, man. Toronto, May 5th, 2025, says Stephen Tetrault, a prominent French-Canadian entrepreneur and longtime leader in the collectibles and entertainment space, has officially acquired Electronics Boutique Canada Inc., also known as GameStop Canada, from GameStop Global Holdings, SARL. The acquisition makes a new chapter for the Canadian retailer, which will launch as EB Games Canada, a beloved iconic name many Canadian gamers still associate with their earliest gaming experiences. The move reflects a commitment to revitalizing Canada's gaming retail scene, bringing renewed focus to customer experience, collector culture, and the unique preferences of Canadian gamers. It says this isn't just a business decision. It's about bringing something back that Canadians truly love, said Stephen Tetrault, owner and CEO of newly rebranded EB Games Canada. We're going to build something special here with the community, nostalgia, and innovation at its heart. I think it's very interesting, right, that this is happening here. Yes, they're most likely going to announce, in my opinion, what the monetary sale was for. But, what some people are not talking about with this is the potential for whatever partnerships could be involved here as well with this sale, right? Maybe some kind of revenue sharing streams, things like that. We've obviously seen that with Overstock in this IP. I think they're paying like 1 or 2% to what was it? BBBY Acquisition Co. Yeah, that was what they're paying them. So it's not out of the ordinary to see this. And again, we don't have the full story of what that deal kind of obviously that occurred here, but anything that you want to comment on this individual? Did you happen to look into him a little bit or have any information about this guy, or do you have any opinions that maybe about the sale of Canadian GameStop before we dive into some other stuff here?
Not the individual himself, just because, again, by the time I try to look into it, the entire news feed, search engines are just pulling up this particular event. As far as selling GameStop Canada, formerly known as EB Games, interesting. I don't know if this is some type of separation to get out of Canada, so you have an arm's length transaction for something else. I don't know. I'm speculating here. It could be a possibility, but now they're completely clear of Canada. who we know on another play may have a hand in some other type of transaction. So interesting. Anything that I would speculate on is going to be completely tinfoil, and I don't want to speculate too much. I actually want to wait for maybe the 8K to come out, disclose the amount that it was sold for, disclose a little bit about the agreement to sell it, and go from there. So I'll wait a day or two and just then I'll form an opinion.
It also says here, I'll just read this snippet as well. I guess this is from his LinkedIn. It says, I'm incredibly humbled and proud to share that I've officially acquired GameStop Canada, and we're bringing it back, a name that holds a special place in the hearts of Canadian gamers. It says this isn't just a business move. It's a chance to reignite the connection between fans and a brand they grew up with, blending nostalgia with innovation to create something truly special. We're reimagining what EB Games can be, a destination for collectors and gamers. That's something, obviously, that's a term that Ryan Cohen has used before. That was one of the original things that he stated when he wrote the board to the GameStop board. He used this term of a destination for gamers. It says a hub for fandom and pop culture, a community-focused retail experience built for Canadians. I'm beyond excited to work alongside Jim Chio and the entire team as we roll out this new chapter nationwide. The best is yet to come. Very exciting stuff when it comes to GameStop Canada, man, and their sale as well. Let's take a look at this next post here. We got a couple things to look at. I know there's some tinfoil as well, but I do want to very briefly, obviously we did see the resignation of Warren Buffett as well, which was recently too. Is Kevin Malone going to join? No, Kevin Malone is not joining us this evening. I actually got a DM from Kevin. He actually he sent me a photo of himself. You guys want to see this shit? So Kevin sent me this photo of himself right here. This is in my DMs, all right, on X. And he says, can't join tonight, man. I feel like I'm going to die. 5-week airborne viral infection and just started antibiotics yesterday. It feels like someone's hitting me in the head with a hammer every time I cough. I love the fact that he sent me a photo of himself. Right on. Kevin, there's always next time for sure. We love having you here at the show. I think Kevin wanted to come on and dispute a lot of this XRT stuff. We can dive into XRT if you'd like. I think that Kevin's taking this approach. And again, I don't speak for Kevin, but from what I kind of understand on the side from some of the interactions or some of the stuff that he was saying, I think he believes that there's like no connection when it comes to XRT. I think there is. I think there's enough evidence that we've been looking for these short positions in the data. We've been looking at, we typically check chart exchange. We look for the shorting days. We look at volumes, things like that. All that, we take all that into account. And yet we can't seem to understand why there's no FTDs on this stock. Constant days, especially with GameStop, for years and years and years, you'd never seen a single day where they wouldn't FTD, but now you do, right? Jump to today. And I think one of the major things is that they're utilizing a lot of these ETFs to essentially hide their short positions here. What would you like to, I'll find the XRT post while you expand upon that if you'd like, Travis.
Well, I know Kevin wanted us to kind of discuss how shorting XRT isn't shorting GameStop, and he's absolutely correct. It's not. When you short XRT, you're buying an entitlement to, just like a stock on a brokerage. You're purchasing an entitlement. Unless you DRS it, it's not really your share. It's in your broker. It's an entitlement. Think of it kind of the same thing. You buy or purchase a share of XRT. What you're purchasing is an entitlement to everything that it contains. Now, certain individuals, I shouldn't say individuals, certain entities who have the right to do so can redeem those units of XRT for the actual shares. I don't think you and I could have the opportunity to do that, but there's like market makers, broker dealers, all these other entities that could actually redeem those stocks of XRT and then use it to kind of short certain positions and go long others. And that's how XRT is being used. So if you short XRT as a unit, you're not shorting GameStop. You're not shorting everything it contains. You're shorting the unit as it is, not the actual shares within it. And I think he kind of wanted to get an emphasis on that across, that shorting XRT isn't shorting GameStop. And Kevin, I hope I did this well if you're watching and try to explain this. I'm a novice when it comes to like those ETFs and everything. I know I have a GED in that. I'm not a doctor or anything or master. But I hope I at least got the point across that he was saying that people who were talking about shorting XRT, it's like shorting GameStop. That's completely false. You actually have to redeem the shares and then use that redemption to then either short the shares within it or use those shares to have locates of different stocks within.
Well, why
the
would
ETF.
why would an ETF like XRT have a 1,300% share short if that weren't the case, Travis? Because I see what you're saying, right? Like I get it, but you know the reason why they short via these ETFs is because so they don't have to basically deliver on their obligations, right? I mean, we've known this for a very long time. But again, you know, I beg the question then if you analyze a lot of these other ETFs, I don't think any of these ETFs stack up against XRT, which is why there's a 1,300% share short on an ETF like this, like XRT, right? And at the same time, you don't see any of these FTDs when it pops up on GameStop. But let me just let's take a look on Chart Exchange when it comes to XRT, if there's FTDs there, right? Because we typically look at, you know, GameStop and stuff like that. So XRT, I think I have the right one, right? SPDR S&P Retail ETF, right? Okay. Let's take a look if there's FTDs here. Okay. There is. I mean, there's a pretty decent amount. Even as of 403, there was 1.1 million FTDs right here. We also had as recent as 10,000 in terms of FTDs. You have some that's kind of zero, but I think if you compare it to GameStop, you know, GameStop does not have a lot of these failure to delivers on there. Oh, okay. There's about 17,000. So while XRT on the same day has 10,000, GameStop has about 17,000 here. So it looks like the FTDs are picking up actually a little bit here. There was a lot back in March here, picked up a little bit at the beginning of April too. So I don't know. I mean, maybe we are coming up on a cycle here very soon because, you know, one of the major things is that whenever DFE had returned, like he perfectly timed this cycle, right? Some people think that, you know, his tweet, some people have argued that his tweets like ran the price up. I don't think so. I think that primarily it has to do with the cycle. This is a thing that happens regardless, whether he was back or not, this would have happened, right? And he just happened to time this very well because he understands this market well. And that's also why you saw Ryan Cohen raise a couple $2 billion because he knows how this works, right? Especially with these cycles. So he kind of like utilized his chance to raise a bunch of money for the company. But I don't know, you know, when you're kind of looking at XRT, you have to wonder why there is such a high amount of short, just positions on it. SI right now says 318%. Like you see this is crazy for an ETF. So for XRT, yeah, the SI is 318%. 22 million shares short right here. It says on XRT.
But again, that has to do with creation redemption. It's not necessarily somebody goes and just shorts the ETF. It's about creation redemption. If I wanted to short something and redeem everything else so that it nets, and the ETF creator fails to deliver some or half or maybe all of those shares on the redemption, that's an FTD. There's a lot that's going on in here that we have barely scratched the surface on. And somebody like Kevin, I hope you get well soon, man. I'm sorry to hear you're under the weather. But soon, come on, try to explain this a little bit and give us, more insight because again, I barely have scratched the surface with ETFs. I understand that they can be utilized. I don't understand how they can be utilized this way or how they can be short 3,000%. Now, I will say the outstanding shares of this ETF have changed dramatically over the last month on several occasions where it the amount outstanding went from like 3 million to 5 million, back down to like 2 million, back up. It's kind of crazy and weird what's going on with this ETF with the XRT. So I would need somebody like Kevin to come on and explain it more. I only know how.
Yeah,
what I know
and again, like,
scratching the
we can
surface of.
save it for another time. I'd love for Kevin to come on here and kind of make sense of a lot of this stuff too. Let's try to get through some of this stuff here. I know some people are trying to celebrate their Cinco de Mayo today. I don't know if we're having tacos tonight, man. I gotta ask Mrs. Peepee if we're having tacos.
Oh, I found out we're having enchilada
perfect.
soup.
There you go. All right,
we are
excellent.
celebrating.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, we got to get some tacos going. All right. Real quick, I do want to take a look here. So XRT, yes. Maybe we can have Kevin Malone join us, and we can kind of dissect that a little bit more. There's a lot of tinfoil we need to get through as well. Let's start with Bobby's post here. Let's try to get through this as quick as we can here, because there is a lot. Okay, so you guys should all be able to see this. Bobby says, docket 568, Bed Bath & Beyond Inc. Schedule of Assets and Liabilities has 13 total causes of action. Listed under Schedule A, B, Assets, real and personal property against third parties, whether or not a lawsuit has been filed, which are all major shipping companies. Lawsuit filed for, we have BAL, we have Evergreen, Med Shipco, which is MSC, we have OOCL, we have Yang Ming. We also have not filed but still possible CMA CGM. We have Costco. We also have Hapag Lloyd, Hyundai, Maersk, Ocean Network, Wanhai, and Zim. Okay. It says Article 4F7 from the plan covers preservation of causes of action and Michael Goldberg's authority handling that. No entity may rely on the absence of a specific reference in the plan supplement, or the disclosure statement to any cause of action against them as any indication that the plan admin will not pursue any and all available cause of action against them. It says the debtors or the plan admin, as applicable, shall have the exclusive right, authority, and discretion to determine and to initiate, file, prosecute, enforce, abandon, settle, compromise, release, withdraw, or litigate to judgment any such causes of action, and to decline to do any of the foregoing without the consent or approval of any third party or further notice to or action, order, or approval of the bankruptcy court. The nulls, going concern, and cause of action were all strategically preserved, and people somehow think money won't flow down. And he has a couple snippets attached here as well. This kind of, let me go ahead and pull this up for everybody. Preservation of the Causes Act, which he describes here. Instigate, commence, prosecute, or settle as appropriate any and all non-release claims, whether arising before or after the petition date. Plan admin shall have the authority to release or settle any claim or cause of action without approval of the oversight committee. The amount in controversy is equal or less than 10 million. Without approval, the amount in controversy is more than 10 million. The settlement amount is at least than 70% of the amount in controversy. So I think that there's a very real possibility here that not only are we going to see an insane amount of money flow in from some of these shipping lawsuits, but I can almost guarantee you, if the board was being sued for 5 billion, I thought it was like 2.8, $2.5 billion. They're not going to settle for something for like 100 million or like 5 million or 10 million. Most likely it was probably maybe a little under 2 billion, if I had to guess. I think when I was talking with Michael had taken this approach that he thought it was going to be like 140 million or something, or correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that's a little bit too low. We're talking about a substantial amount of fraud. We're talking about tens of thousands of people who lost their jobs due to this board. Right? We're not only talking about these people who lost jobs. I mean, we're talking about, not only people's livelihoods, but the fact that investors out there invested into this company. The fact that the company had billions and billions of dollars on cash, a lot of money kind of coming through in a lot of these stores. And yet Mark Tridon, the prior CEO, goes and utilizes all that money in terms of buybacks, right? Completely demolishes the company, within a couple months. So I do think that it's going to be pretty high, pretty substantial. And then when you factor in the fact that we have evidence regarding some of these emails, okay, where JPM is talking to the board, claiming that they're their team and things like that, that's when it gets a little bit more murky here too, right? Some people have said, well, you know what, PP, the board doesn't have that kind of fucking money. You're right. They don't, right? They absolutely don't. But I will tell you that in terms of insurance paying out for a lot of this fraud, and also the fact that if JPM is also kind of factored into a lot of this like RICO fraud type of stuff going on, they will pay the $2 billion like it's nothing, right? They pay it, you know, goes swept under the rug and they move on. And this isn't the first time that JPM has kind of found themselves in this kind of scenario here where investors kind of push back and they didn't want people to really know about what was going on. So they quietly, you know, swept things under the rug. I think there was one case, whenever Bruno would come onto the show, there was one case he had brought up here at the PP show, one that has stuck with me for a multitude of months now, where JPM had paid out like something like $4 or $6 billion in terms of something like this, where they had basically taken a short position, destroyed the company, and they had to pay that back out to the investors. So, you know, I think that there's going to be a lot of money left over, not just, oh, you know, we're barely getting by here, and you know, investors or Class 9 is going to get like a recovery of $1. I don't think so. I think the recovery is going to be so substantial that it will cause a ripple across the entire market, man. And especially when they reveal who's buying the shell, I think it's also going to kind of add into that too. The fact that tickers were preserved, the fact that there was all these stipulations to sell these IPs. You know, if this was truly just kind of like a, you know, we filed bankruptcy, it's over, we had a fraudulent board, things like that, these IPs would have been sold for what they're worth. Bye bye baby. Probably, you know, what JPM said, probably north of over 100 million for the Bye Bye Baby brand. And, you know, some of these other brands that sold for pennies on the dollar. So I don't buy it, you know, personally. I think it is a lot bigger. And I think that the people have kind of come in and assimilated within our community. People like Bill Pulte, people like Larry Chang, people like Roaring Kitty. I mean, there's so much attention on the PP show here. You guys probably saw too, Greg responded to me too last week, which was pretty fucking crazy. I don't know if you saw that, Travis. But you know, there's some people out there that have their attention on us for some reason. And again, I don't think that it just simply ends here and we get nothing. This is a big thing in the works. Even, you know, someone as great as David Cass said, this is an extraordinary bankruptcy. I quite literally believe that is what he means by it. So, all right, let me pull up this next post here so we can take a very quick look at it here. This was also from Bobby. It says, according to Michael Goldberg on 3/4, the estate was 175.4 million away from hitting the initial sharing threshold of classes 3 and 4 being paid a combined aggregate and recoveries exceeding 515 million. Bed Bath & Beyond was suing MSC for 300 plus million, and they just settled confidentially. We also have added the OOCL 165 million, Evergreen for 90 million, Yang Ming 27 million, and BAL 9.5 million to money potentially recovered by the estate. I'm pretty sure that I don't think that these are hard numbers in terms of settlements, but this is just the potential that could be flowing through. It says here, Bed Bath & Beyond was also seeking $2 billion plus from the overpaid executives who needed some accountability. And they also just settled confidentially before the discovery as well. Now, strike-off taxes are being paid off. Though he says now, strike-off taxes are being paid off in Texas on the Flexport Distribution Center. We're getting closer, according to Bobby. Let me pull this up for everybody here. It says here, this is the sharing mechanism. Okay, there is a sharing mechanism, the sharing mechanism under the plan that has the potential to increase the amount of funds available for distribution to holders of allowed administrative claims, allowed priority tax claims, other allowed priority claims, class 1, and other secured claims, class 2, by allowing the wind down debtors' estates to participate in certain percentage recoveries from causes of action, which are deposited into a shared proceeds pool. The sharing mechanism, however, does not kick in until the initial sharing threshold is met. The initial sharing threshold is the point in time at which the combined aggregate recoveries to holders of allowed claims in classes 3 and 4 exceeds 515 million, is what it says. Plus interest and fees on account of such claims. Now, it also goes on to say down here, prior to the effective date, the plan admin understands that the debtors paid $226.9 million to the holders of the allowed DIP claims class 3 and allowed FILO claims class 4 since the effective date. The plan admin has made payments totaling $112.7 million on account of the allowed DIP claims class 3 and also allowed FILO claims as well, is what it says. Class 4, accordingly, the initial sharing threshold has not been met, and there are zero distributable proceeds in the shared proceeds pool when it comes to class 4. So again, very interesting stuff. And I think that Bobby is correct, that a lot of this stuff is in fact wrapping up here. I mean, we kind of already did the hard waiting, fellas, right? Like the times of, Bill Pulte kind of coming in for like a year and a half, 2 years, kind of got us through a very rough time, for all of us, right? A lot of us didn't really know what was going on in terms of like this limbo with our shares, but I'm very confident that things will most certainly work out for us. Rupert out there with the 2. Travis, what's going on with Finger, Shills, and Shambles? I did buy a little bit of that. I heard that I've seen it before. It's ran up. Maybe make a couple bucks, throw it back into GameStop or IEP. But I bought a little tiny bag of it. Are you riding Finger as well, Travis, or what? Some of these like OG stocks are starting to run again, like back when the stuff was going on with Bobby. So that's why I'm convinced that there are like a lot of these like basket cycles going on. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it came on my radar about 2 weeks ago. I jumped in a little bit. I didn't throw a lot at it because the numbers are speculative. They're not actually reported. What's being reported or what's being talked about online is apparently naked shorts to a tune of a certain amount. Because that can't be proven, I'm playing it safe, but at the same time, like, hey, I'll go in on this.
Yeah.
And so I did.
I mean, yeah. Well said. And again, I think that this is going to shock the world, man, when it finally happens. Real quick, we do have an update from Coble here. Coble says Cohen defendants not liable for transactions predating the date on which they purportedly became directors, is what it says. This is a new docket from 2 days ago. It says here, and I'll pull up the snippet here. This is I am from the bottom. It says updated Cohen versus Plan Man. Cohen defendants not liable for transactions predating the date on which they purportedly became directors. Became what is what he says. In effect, at the time of the purchase and sales, that issue already affected. It says it's a GG, no, re, and I don't know, like a clarinet and a flamingo looking thing here. It says here, affirmative defenses as, let me pull this up so you guys can see it. It says there are affirmative defenses as separate and distinct defenses. The Cohen defendants allege as follows by alleging matters set forth below. The Cohen defendants do not thereby allege or admit that the Cohen defendants have the burden of proof or the burden of persuasion with respect to any of the matters. Furthermore, the Cohen defendants hereby give notice that they intend to rely upon such other and further defenses as may become available or apparent during pre-trial proceedings in this action, and hereby reserve the right to amend their answer and assert all of such defenses. It says down here under second and third and fourth defense, third defense is plaintiff's sole claim for the relief is barred under section rule 16A-2 because the Cohen defendants are not liable for transactions predating the date of which they purportedly became directors. That's an interesting choice of words here. We also have the fourth defense. Plaintiff's sole claim for relief is barred under Section 23A of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 because the Cohen defendants acted in good faith conformity with the rules and regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission in effect at the time of the purchases and sales at issue. So very interesting stuff. And I'm not sure if you saw this too, Travis, but regarding Edelman, there was some back and forth when it came to Edelman as well. And they were trying to say that Ryan Cohen had some kind of material information in one of their meetings, but the defense came back and they said, that isn't true. Edelman took notes during these meetings and nothing is written in those notes where he was given any kind of material information like that.
Yeah, the material non-public information was the fact that Mark Triton was going to be ex-nayed the next day. And so that's the argument is, she told him Mark Triton was basically going to be fired the day before he got fired. Whether or not that's true, we don't know. It's speculative, and I haven't seen any evidence that says that it is true. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It is very interesting, kind of seeing a lot of this stuff here. But I think that's really like where we're kind of at in terms of a lot of this stuff being held up. There is a little bit of tinfoil that I do want to touch upon as well here. Let me just exit out some of this stuff. Hang on one second here. Oh, yeah. There was actually this, since we're on the topic of it real quick. This was actually posted by a Variable Werewolf. It says, with his motion to dismiss half granted, half denied, Ryan Cohen gives official answer in the Bed Bath lawsuit against him. The full docket goes paragraph by paragraph, responding to each allegation / statement. I will post some highlights in the comments here. This is some of them as well. We'll take a very quick peek at these here. All right. So it says here, defendants Ryan Cohen and RC Ventures LLC and together with the Cohen defendants, it says here, by its undersigned counsel, answers the First Amendment complaint, the FAC of the plaintiff, DK Butterfly and Bed Bath & Beyond, as follows. It says here, to the extent that responses are required to any such allegations, the Cohen defendants deny all such allegations. The Cohen defendants further deny any allegations contained in or in inferences that may be drawn from the captions or footnotes contained in the FAC or any other portion of the FAC outside of the numbered paragraphs. It also goes on to say here, by alleging the matters set forth below, the Cohen defendants do not thereby allege or admit that the Cohen defendants have the burden of proof or the burden of persuasion with respect to any of these matters. Furthermore, the Cohen defendants hereby give notice that they intend to rely upon such other and further defenses as they become available or apparent during pretrial proceedings in this action, and hereby reserve the rights to amend their answer and assert all such defenses, is what it says. And this also has the fourth defense listed here. It goes on to say the Cohen defendants admit that Bed Bath & Beyond chair Edelman provided certain financial data. This is the one I was referring to. That apparently Edelman provided certain financial data to Mr. Cohen and informed him that Mark Trident would cease serving as chief executive officer of Bed Bath & Beyond during a Zoom meeting on June 28th of 2022. The Cohen defendants deny that Miss Edelman disclosures to Mr. Cohen on June 28th, which Miss Edelman had obtained prior, approval to disclose to Mr. Cohen substantially exceeding the scope of the financial data that would be publicly disclosed the following day. It also goes on to say the Cohen defendants deny that the Zoom meeting on June 28, 2022 between Miss Edelman and Mr. Cohen ended up ranging far beyond the earnings release and personal move. So they're basically saying that he was given a little bit more information here. Sorry, go ahead.
Unless the Zoom meeting was recorded, it's he said, she said.
I mean, that's kind of where they're at, right? The biggest questions, and don't forget that Sue Gov and also Harriet Edelman wanted to travel to Florida to have a one-on-one with Mr. Cohen too. So you have to wonder why that is. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised that Cohen during some of these meetings recorded his interactions with them. He has the evidence if probably they come forth and they say, you know, it's hearsay or he said, she said. I think that most likely he has the evidence that kind of shows like, look, this is what actually happened in some of these meetings here. It says the Cohen defendants admit that neither Mr. Rosenberg nor Miss Bowen served the full term of their appointment to the board, having resigned therefrom on December 20, 2022 and February 11, 2023, respectively, as well. So again, you know, you have to wonder, you know, what actually is going on here, right? The fact that they're trying to like say, you know, they're pointing fingers at Ryan Cohen, you know, this is his fault, when really they need to be looking at the board of Bed Bath & Beyond and some of these people who are obviously not installed by RC, because there was a lot of fraud kind of happening at this time, a tremendous amount of fraud. Maui Sam out there with the 100, appreciate the love, Maui. Maui Sam says, many blessings for all each of you do for others. Maui Sam loves you, the crew, and the PP Chat family. Much love to you out there, Maui Sam. Appreciate the 100, my man. Cunty Lizard out there with the 2, 8 quarters just to say, Michael, I hate you, worth it. Right on. We'll buy a gumball with those quarters, Cunty Lizard. All right, let's take a look. We got a couple more posts and we'll call it a night here. I know it is going to be a little bit short. We'll be back on Wednesday this week. I would be streaming on Friday, but Mrs. Peepee is officially graduating with her master's degree, man. So we're going to be celebrating on Friday Mrs. Peepee's master's degree. And it's funny because when this whole thing fucking started nearly 3 years ago, she had just entered that master's program. So Wow, we're getting Mrs. Peepee graduated before our fucking goddamn shares have come to us. But that's all right, fellas. I think it's still coming. All right. Real quick, there's a couple posts here, a little bit of tinfoil that we will kind of wrap up here. We'll go a little longer on Wednesday. So this was posted by Greg, which I thought was very interesting here. This obviously is the Roaring Kitty meme that he used, right? Where he was basically depicting himself as, this character. I can't remember what his name is in the movie. But again, it's very, what was it?
Warden. It was Warden something.
The guy that was there in jail. And he kind of depicted himself as this character, right? And I think it's very interesting seeing Greg kind of comment this as well. And we're going to take a look at another post from Greg too, which kind of piqued my interest as well. But you can see this one from Greg here. And it says, if you recognize this scene, then you probably have a good taste in movies. And I think he's directly relating to people following Roaring Kitty, in my opinion. And again, this can kind of be interpreted as well as we're probably going to see most likely Roaring Kitty return very soon, right? I think the last time he was active was back in February. It's been quite some time here in terms of Roaring Kitty. So I don't know. I think when it comes to like some of this tinfoil, a lot of people wonder, who this Greg character is. I don't know. Maybe he is Roaring Kitty. Maybe he's his brother or somebody. He's most certainly someone out there who likes to meme a lot and who likes to shitpost. So it could really be anybody there. But if you want to make any comments on this, Travis, go for it. If not, I'm going to pull up the next piece here.
No, I'm not going to dox Greg. Go ahead.
Sounds good. Do you actually know who he is? Okay. All right.
No,
I was going to say, I don't think anybody does.
I know the general area of where he lives, and that's all.
Oh, because of some of the photos he uses, but you don't know for sure if that's him who took those photos. So, you got that as well. All right.
No, let me run with this. Don't.
Real quick, we'll pull in Rad Dad. Rad Dad's here as well. We'll pull in Rad Dad in just one moment. Jordan here made a post here on the PP sub. Want to take a look at this. It says, Pulte says we won tweet on June 2nd. Roughly 2 hours later, RK reverse Uno tweet. Okay. And then it says the next day, Berkshire Hathaway glitches all the way to 0. And then Jake 2B sits on the couch. And let's take a look at this timeline here. Pulte says we won on the 2nd of June of 2024. Roaring Kitty posts, or what time was that at? That was at 6:24. Roughly less than 2 hours later, Roaring Kitty comes here and posts this reverse Uno card. Berkshire Hathaway tanks from 600,000 a share to 185. I tried buying and it just wouldn't fucking let me. I thought maybe, just maybe, I might get lucky with one share, man. Like, could you imagine that? But no, did not get lucky on that one. And then we have Jake 2B on 6/6. He posts him sitting on the couch as well. I think it is very telling with what's kind of going on here. I think that a lot of these guys kind of understand, myself included, just like a lot of these people in this chat. A lot of these people have high IQs and they know what's happening here, right? They know that this is like a sure deal. And I think that this is 100% for sure happening. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that anything will be thrown at this where could potentially jeopardize us getting our equity. No chance. Even Roaring Kitty tells you that in some of his memes, like, this is essentially a done deal. At least that's how I interpret a lot of these memes. But I will say, like, kind of looking at this, right? Like, whenever it's happening in real time, nobody's really paying attention to this. But when you look back, it does kind of tell a little bit of a story here. We'll pull in Rad Dad in just one moment. I just want to get through some of this stuff here. There is some stuff we need to remind ourselves of. I'm sure you guys probably remember this from Backstage RC. Yes, we haven't seen Backstage RC in God knows how long. It's probably been a multitude of months now. Backstage RC, we need some tin, man. We need to see, we need to know when the fuck, we need a fucking date at this point, man. We need something. It says here from Jordan as well. It says titties are jacked for May. Now, I'm sure if you guys have watched the show long enough, you guys remember this. On 5/1/2024, Backstage RC came onto the show backstage and said, drain the swamp, MGGA, make GameStop great again, right? This little thing down here, the T- and the symbols, someone had translated it to T-16. Okay. And from, if you look at the date from 5/1, plus 16, you get to May 17th. And obviously we know that there's another major cycle potentially coming in the next few weeks, right? It very well could play out the exact same way, where you see something on the 12th and you see that entire run again, like we see from the 12th through the 16th of May. You could see something like that happen again. But I will say, when I was looking at this and I was thinking back, I was like, yeah, Roaring Kitty, there's been some speculation that it was Roaring Kitty. And then I started to think, Roaring Kitty posted this like backstage, like kitty meme and stuff. And maybe these guys are, again, kind of fucking with us a little bit, right? Like maybe, let's say it wasn't Roaring Kitty who was backstage RC. Could it be possible that it could in fact be the real RC? I mean, how do you go from May 1st, you put this symbol here, 16 days later, the only one who would know, okay, make GameStop great again and put this date on May 17th would be Ryan Cohen because he's the CEO. May 17th, guess what happened on May 17th? Well, guess what? The company raised billions of dollars, and then we start to see this digital assets in these, I think it was, what was it? It was at 10K or 10Q, Travis?
Well, you have 10Qs.
Well, what did we
10K.
see?
10Q is every quarter. A 10K
annually
will be released.
Yes. Okay.
Once
gotcha.
a year, about 45 days to 90 days.
Okay, I think maybe it was even an 8K maybe that we saw. But they have this highlight here, this digital assets means digital assets and instruments of every kind in nature, including currency, coins, or tokens. Now jump to today. We know that Ryan Cohen is making a move into Bitcoin, right? A lot of people are wondering when he's going to utilize this for Bitcoin. But again, coming back to this drain the swamp, make GameStop great again. I mean, how else do you explain this? Unless it truly was maybe the real Ryan Cohen. I don't know. I mean, again, you know how fucking crazy that would be if sometimes I think it's multiple people. It's like the way that they would type backstage too. Like maybe there's multiple people that have speculated to be this backstage RC dropping this tin. But again, could you even begin to imagine if it was in fact the real RC here? I don't know. It's just something to ponder.
About time. Like if your theory is it's actually RC, I'd be like, about time, because I've reached out several times, try to go through your personal assistant to set up an interview. You can't talk to us publicly. Maybe you do so discreetly. That's cool. All right, you're talking to us. I would say no to your theory that it's multiple people because of the icon that they use backstage. And I didn't say icon elongated to talk about Carl icon.
Profile picture,
but literally like the icon. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Profile picture. Thank you. Has always been consistent from my understanding. So I would say probably no to that, unless it is multiple people that are in an inner circle and they're in the know. That makes it more speculative.
Let me pull up this post right here, and we're gonna bring in Rad Dad right now. Let me just we'll have this one ready with Greg here with his Cinco. What was it? Happy Siete de Mayo. Chat, please give a warm welcome to none other than Rad Dad. Rad Dad, what's going on, man? Welcome to the PP Show. What do you have for us here this evening, my man?
I've got a bad connection. Wherever I am, if anybody can hear. Yeah, I'm lost.
We can hear you.
Nobody can. You can hear me? Yeah. You can't see me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
There I am.
Oh, there we go. Nope. What's going on? Good to see you, man.
I just wanted to say hello. Yeah, down at the Alamo.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys too.
Does your hat say
it does say 741 on it? Yeah. Did you say you went to the Alamo?
Yeah, I went to the Alamo today with the Broken Teacher and Cass and I don't know 702 or I don't know Balls McLongcock, whoever that is.
Are you're down in San Antonio? Hell yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Huh?
Dildo? Did you say dildo slapping? Right on. Way to represent the show, man. Good stuff.
Oh, hey, Travis, I'm going to take it off for you tonight. Yeah, hold on here. I'm in the bathroom all alone, everybody. Ooh. Yeah, baby.
Are you at like teacher's house right now or something?
Hey, Chris, hold on. Yeah, he is.
This is
Hold on.
my
Hey,
message
Chris,
for
there's a guy
today.
doing some weird stuff in your back.
Yes.
What is it? It's backwards.
Yeah, figure it out. You guys like tinfoil.
It is backwards.
At least I took my shirt off. Huh?
I have a small
Yeah.
wee. What?
Well, Rad Dad, what would you like to add for us here? We're going to start wrapping up here in a moment before I dildo slap you back to the Alamo here.
Please.
Oh, we got the PP Show Moon. Right on, man. Love it. What would you like the good people at home to know, Rad Dad? We got over 4,000 people tuning in here across the show. What would you like the good people at home to know? Let's hear it, Rad Dad.
We're here. We've never left, and we're not leaving.
Right on. Well said. Well said. All right. Well, Rad Dad, it's always a fucking pleasure, man. We'll slap you. We'll dildo slap you back to the Alamo. Let's get some photos, man, of the Alamo. All right, you heard it from Rad Dad. I mean, he was fiending for that fucking plastic, that silicone flavor, man, that he's so used to. Right on, Rad Dad.
It's been a minute since I've seen a slap.
Well,
live.
yeah, it has been some time for sure. All right, so I think that pretty much majorly hits it. Oh yeah, there was a couple things here real quick too. Very, very brief. I mean, we're out in just a few seconds here. And again, we'll be back on Wednesday, fellas. It says here from Jordan as well. Jordan's been really hitting the tinfoil hard, man. This was a post from Ryan Cohn that I'm sure you guys remember too. The Q-tips thing. And, for the longest time, I've kind of assumed, maybe the Q stuff's a little crazy, things like that, but maybe it isn't, right? I mean, the fact that he kind of posts like this Q-tips thing, like I think that he is alluding to this Q stuff. Now, some people who were watching back in March, last year, I had made this tweet because we got this message from Backstage RC, and it says, it was the 15th of March, 24. It says, as we prepare, this is what Backstage RC said, as we prepare to land, please fasten your seatbelt and make sure your seat is back and folding trays are in their full upright position. And mind you, look at the date. This is the 15th of March, 2024. This is before Roaring Kitty came back. And if you go to the Fight Club meme, this thing pops up. It says, as we prepare to land, please fasten your seatbelt and make sure your seat is in the full folding trays are in their full upright position. That's very odd, might I add, right? That's 2 months before he comes back and he says this. So, and it says here, GBT USA, GBD5 out. I didn't really know what this meant. And I was like, this was the Backstage RC message. What does this mean? And someone said that it's from like a Q post here. And basically it says down here, as we prepare to land, please fasten your seatbelt and make sure your seat is back and folding trays in their full upright position. Q is what it says. And you can't really argue. And again, some people say, the Q stuff is crazy. Sure. However you want to say it. But you can't really deny that Ryan Cohn has basically highlighted Q. You also had like Pulte highlighting Q. You also had Roaring Kitty, who kind of like, again, like kind of alludes to this as well in the Fight Club meme too. So I don't know, it's not that crazy to think that this is like a very large operation happening here. That's going to, ripple across the entire market. I mean, just look at like what Elon Musk is doing with Doge, right? The fact that they're now like asserting themselves in the SEC. You have Ken Griffin almost crying weekly about what Donald Trump is doing, right? And I think that is great. Whatever pressure Donald Trump is doing, if it pisses off Ken Griffin, let's keep doing it. Let's turn it up to 100. All right, if it's pissing off Ken, because we know his ass is losing a lot of money here. So again, and when they kind of run out of liquidity, that's when you start to see the real runs start to happen, where they start to cover their positions and things like that. So I think it is very interesting here. Cunty Lizard says, OPP, no, wrong. I've been hanging out with Edwin Barnes too much, man. I love Edwin's DD, by the way. All right. Last couple things on the way out. We do have this post here. It is some tinfoil. And we will be very brief and we're out. This was from Lord Farquaad. It says 2 boxes, and Pulte had posted this thing of 2 boxes, right? Like I have one, he has one here. That's depicted. You have the boxes on RC's head. You have 2 of them specifically, which I never made these connections when I saw this, but looking back, I mean, this is very good tinfoil, right? So you have the 2 boxes, me and Pulte. You have the 2 boxes Cohen here. Okay. You have 2 boxes, 2 presents here in the Teddy books. It says, hey, Cowboys, Grandpa Teddy was here to spend the day with Kingston and Princeton. They love Teddy more than they loved anyone except Mama and Papa. I think 1 gift is for Bed Bath, 1 gift for GME. That's what I think. And then obviously we have Roaring Kitty here. And you have this snippet here. I think this is from like a 4chan or some kind of like Q thing on the left where you have like gifts where it's mentioned May 5th, which is today. And we have this present that Roaring Kitty posted too. So you see this like reoccurring theme of like presents, right? I don't know. I think that it's going to be major. I think it's going to be fucking absolutely major here. All right. I think, this is the very last one. I promise we're out of here. Lord Farquaad as well with another thing regarding tinfoil. And again, I will add this. Okay. Some people say, well, PP, there's no tinfoil in Mr. Beast videos, things like that. You know, PP's lost his mind. Maybe I have. Okay. But let me tell you this. Before the GameStop run happened, okay, we saw Mr. Beast running with bags of cash. Bags and bags of cash, duffel bags. He was running in this like one video. There was also, remember the video that he posted where there was the 6th Street Bridge. Does anyone remember that as well? He posted the 6th Street Bridge. Nope. We also know that Mr. Bill Pulte has an investment into Mr. Beast's company. We know that he was seen with Mr. Beast a couple times too. So it's not that crazy to think if they want to deliver a message out there to us, okay? They could approach Mr. Beast and say, hey, you know, could you just throw this in a video? 6th Street Bridge, the money bags running, things like that. And again, yeah, sure. Maybe I sound fucking crazy, right? But I don't know. You know, if you take a look at this, is very well. Hold on, I haven't gotten to the insanity yet, man. All right, I'm almost there. It says here, what the heck is in this Mr. Beast video? This is a new one, okay? It says taking money from a bear, escaping a casket, a Moab to get the money, and this is after RC deleted his tombstone photo, which I wasn't aware of. This was right after. You have the atom bomb right here, right? Remember Roaring Kitty, mother of all bombs, or even the PP that's riding an atom bomb, right? In the super bad. You have the casket down here. He's still alive, by the way. Okay. He's not dead, fellas. He comes out. Okay. I mean, again, like it sounds fucking crazy. Like, trust me, it does. But I don't know, man. You know, I truly think that something is happening here. Here's where they're stealing money from a bear. So, I mean, call it tinfoil, call it schizophrenia, man. Put me in a fucking mental ward, you know. But I think it most certainly is still happening. Have never doubted the play whatsoever. Sure, I get tired sometimes, just like anybody else. And like some of you guys out there, you know, but I've never truly doubted what's going on here, regardless of how long it's taken. Look, you know, I made a post the other day. I've waited fucking goddamn nearly like 16 years for fucking GTA 6. All right. I can wait another, you know, couple weeks if it takes that. You know, we've already been here for 2 fucking plus years, 3 fucking plus years. If you're just taking Bobby, if you're taking into account GameStop, nearly 5. I mean, wow, where the time has gone. All right. Well, with that being said, we'll wrap up there this evening. We'll be back most likely on Wednesday. Travis, I mean, what would you like the good people at home to know? Anything that you want to add regarding any of this tinfoil, any of these crazy conspiracies? Let's hear it, man. Apparently we're just a bunch of crazies out there, man, who have lost all our money. I don't buy it. Let's hear it.
I mean, we're all crazy. We're all weird. And if you're not weird, that means you're just part of what's normal. That's weird to me. Like, be yourself, be individual, be different, express yourself. Be like PP here. Go out on a limb. I love it. You know, as far as, gosh, you covered a lot tonight. Like a lot of good stuff. Bobby, Dirty Vader, you know, some of these tinfoil things. Just a lot of good stuff, and it was amazing. I would say, you know, it has been a long journey. But I mean, hey, we're just getting started. You know, I know there was questions earlier. I do want to touch on it because
let's hear it.
I have to. As far as the finger thing goes, you know, I'm in it. I have some in the money calls, out of the money calls. I'm going to sit back, relax, and hold and see how this thing plays out. Of course, the numbers don't necessarily add up, but
I think it's going to pump and then absolutely dump. That's my opinion.
I am not encouraging anybody out there to do this. I am, however, going to encourage everybody to go spend 30 cents, buy one share of Mullen, and DRS it. Anybody and everybody, 30 cents.
I
Go
ain't
do
touching
it.
that thing,
It's
man.
fun.
No chance.
And it's not a pump and dump because it takes at least 100 shares to actually even move the price in the markets. One share
Travis,
for everybody.
why the
30
hell you
cents.
want
Go
people to
have
buy
fun.
this shit, man? Why?
Because after the next reverse split, technically before any dilution, which we know they've done some dilution, it would only take 8,800 people to do so to lock the flow.
I think you're better off putting your money in GameStop. You're better off putting your money in IEP. But again, appreciate the opinion.
Yeah, I know, but GameStop's not 30 cents. 30 cents.
I already bought my fucking Mullen. It's called Bed Bath and fucking goddamn Beyond, man. Don't make me fucking beat a hole in this wall behind me, man.
And just to, all right, that one's a total side thing. I would love to see people get behind it for just one share, just 30 cents. Go do it. But finger the entire speculation behind that is something like Quantum, which we know Kevin Malone is in. And Kevin, if you're listening, yeah, I'm gonna kind of give a little shout out to the company that you are now an advisor for on the board. They have run up almost 25% since the announcement that he was going to be an advisor.
Okay. No, is that the same Quantum that you're referring to? Because there's so many Quantum stocks there. I got into one Quantum stock, and it was one that Dragon made me some money on last year. And believe it or not, like 1 year later, the stock is doing the exact same thing that it's doing that it was last year. But maybe
there you go.
Maybe it's like a different Quantum stock. If it's $8, then
QNT.
Oh yeah, no, this isn't. Yep. Wait. No, this isn't the company that he's part of.
Yes, it is. Quantum
Is he?
Biopharma QNTM.
Oh, okay. Huh.
It has run up. You know, it was about $6. It's up to
Dragon was calling it out last year. I made some money on it last year.
So
that's funny. That's the same.
You know,
stuff.
apparently there's some naked short selling here. Yeah, definitely some interest in. You know, I'm not going to encourage anybody to necessarily go spend a. You know, invest how you want to invest. Spend your money how you want to spend it. If you got 30 cents, let's take a gamble and let's have fun. Because
GameStop,
I really wanna...
GameStop, IEP, some Chewy, some Newell. What else do we have? A little bit of Beyond. And once you have all those, then allocate the rest of the money to whatever, you know, else is that
what is the gauntlet?
Yeah, that's my Thanos glove. Yeah, that's my Thanos glove. Those five are is PP's Thanos glove, man. And look, I'm not looking for just 1 or 2 wins. I'm looking for maybe even potentially 4 or 5, maybe even 6 in a row. So with that being said, Travis, loved having you on here, man. Appreciate you coming on here. Obviously Michael was out for tonight, so you know, you kept me company here at the PP Show and everybody else in the chat. So I hope you have a great Cinco de Mayo. And anything else you want to add? Closing thoughts on the way out, Travis. We're all ears, man. Let's hear it.
No, closing thoughts. It was great to see you. It was great to be here. I'm sorry Michael couldn't make it. Chat, love y'all. A lot of y'all out there. You know, kind of. Chris, call me. Teacher, call me. Tonight if you can. I'll be up late, so don't sweat it. But yeah, we need to have a phone call. And that's it. I will not be able to make it Wednesday due to family obligations, but I hope y'all have a great time. See y'all next time when I see y'all.
All right, right on. You heard it from Travis, the stripper, man. Chat, let's get some love for Travis on his way out. Travis, enjoy the night. And chat, let's get some love for Travis on his way out. Take care, buddy. See ya. There you fucking have it, man. The PP Show. We got together. We talked some DD. Hell, even the fellas showed up to lend their opinion this evening. I gotta say, it was an excellent show. We have a whole lot to obviously unpack with what's going on here. The fact that, you know, they've sold this like Canadian GameStop and some of these other moving parts with obviously some of these lawsuits. I think something major is on the horizon, man. So hang in there. Again, touch some grass if you need to. Remove yourself from some of the, the repetitiveness of just docket after docket about claims. You know, it can get very tiring, fellas. So That being said, keep an eye on GameStop, keep an eye on IEP, and some of these other basket stocks out there. So, with that being said, appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Whether you watch or donate, whatever it may be, appreciate having your guys' support here at the PP Show, man. Big shout out to our sponsor out there, Black Widow Tech. Again, if you guys are out there looking to develop some apps, things like that, they are the greatest out there. Go to the PP Show, or I'm sorry, my apologies, blackwidowtech.com/the and you can actually set up an app or get something started with those fellows, man. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of the night. We should see you guys on Wednesday. Love y'all. Enjoy Cinco de Mayo. And there you fucking have it. Enjoy the dill stop on the way out. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Love y'all. Peace.